Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the All About Favor channel. I am Pastor KZ, and this is your midweek word. Today, I'd like to draw from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 11, and just one verse there, verse 28. And from the NIV version, it says, "Come to me, all of you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Now, I know some of you like using the King James Version, and the King James Version words would be, "Come unto me, all of you who are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." So, I had been having an observation lately, and I have observed that so many Christians or believers are stressed out. What do I mean by that? I mean stressed out beyond stress. They're just going through something. And I've been observing that. And I want you to think about today. There's so many different situations that come up in all of our lives. And some of those situations come up that produce stress simply because we're overloaded. You're overloaded. Anytime, that's just like a breaker box, electrical breaker box. When you have too much going on, that breaker will trip. But that because it's overloaded. Sometimes you can plug too many things into an electrical socket and it's overloaded. So that's what happens in our lives sometimes. As Christians, we get overloaded with things because we keep trying to put so many things in one space. You're only one person, and your body, your mental, you can only take just so much before it becomes a danger or a hazard to you. And in this scripture, this is what Jesus is saying to the disciples and to the people, is that you've got to know when to stop and come to me. When you burden down, when you got things just weighing on, your burden is a weight and it weighs you down, just something on you and you can't shake it. When you burden, you got bills that's due and you can't pay them. You got sickness going on in your body. Anything that's weighing on you, that's a burden. He said, bring that to me. If you're heavy laden, that means you got too much on you. Bring it to me. He says, I will give you rest. If you're tired, see, sometimes people don't realize that the body and the mind needs a certain amount of rest each day. There are people working 2 and 3 jobs, working 15, 16-hour days, and you are overloaded and you're not getting enough rest. And the next thing you know, you get overwhelmed and you don't even know the reason that you're stressing out. And this is going on in churches, y'all, all over. It's going on with Christians everywhere. Some of us are the most stressed out people you want to see. That's why it's important to take a break. It's important to take vacations, to take little mini short vacations. If you can't go somewhere for a week or two, you've got to just stop and take time out. Because what is going on is you have so many responsibilities that overload you until you get burned out. Everybody at one point in their life or another, you're going to get burned out with something. And that is when you've got to stop. Because so many Christians have physical health problems that's directly related to stress. It has nothing really to do with them physically. It's just that you're overloaded. You got high blood pressure. You got all of these symptoms that you're really about to have a stroke or something because it's stress. It's too much on you. A lot of people say, well, I'm on medication for this. I'm on 20-minute medications. Why are we as Christians on that many medications? At some point, we've got to go to the Lord. And we've got to say, Lord, I need you to direct my paths. I need to know, is all of this stuff I'm taking even helping me? Because, see, we start receiving those reports. Every report that comes from a doctor's office, do it ever occur to you that sometimes you can be misdiagnosed? I met a woman real quickly, and I didn't know, but when I walked past her, my spirit felt something going on with her. And she walked past me again later on in the same store. And so I just had to turn around and I looked at her and I said, "Can I say something?" And I reached out and took her hand and I said, "Whatever it is that's got you weighted down, whatever you're burdened with right now, understand that God can turn that situation around. Don't give up hope. Don't give up hope. Just keep holding on." She looked at me with tears in her eyes and she said, "I don't know what it is. I don't even know why I came in this store today. I didn't until I just saw you." She said, "When you walked past me, I felt something tug at me that I needed to talk to you." And she said, "Thank you for telling me this because I just left the doctor's office receiving some reports that stated I have inoperable cancer. And I was going to leave out of here. And when I get home, I was going to find a way to end my life. I just didn't want to be here because I didn't know what else to do." And by me saying that, it's like, that's why we as Christians, we need to always be prayed up and prepared, because there is always an opportunity for us to witness to somebody. And instead of, sometimes we always feel like we got a word for somebody. No, sometimes a word is simply just a word of comfort in this person, or just giving somebody hope. And about 3 or 4 months later, I was in the same store. I don't even know why I went to this store, because it was way out of my way, because I passed 4 grocery stores going to this particular one. And when I was in there, the person just kept saying, excuse me. But I kept walking because I didn't know they were talking to me. And the person walked up behind me and touched me on my shoulder, and I turned around, and the person, she said, "You don't remember me?" And I'm like, no, I don't. And she's like, but I know you. I'm like, "How do you know me?" And she's like, "You really don't remember." She said, "I'm that woman who was here 3.5 months ago. That, remember I told you I had inoperable cancer, and they only gave me like 4 months to live." I said, "Oh my God, you look so different. I mean, your face is fuller." She says, "Do you know I went and got a second opinion, and I was misdiagnosed. It wasn't even cancer. It was just a polyp that they removed in 1-day surgery." And she says, "I just want to thank you so much because you saved my life." I said, "No, I didn't. I just gave you a word from the Lord, honey. I had nothing to do with it. I take no credit for it. But it just lifted my spirit so." That's what I'm saying to somebody today. Sometime you've got to take that burden, take that weight, and put it in God's hand. Every report that is given to you, it may not be accurate. See, you think about it, and like the lady told me, she says, "If I had not seen you that day, I would have missed out on something very important." And I said, "What was that?" She says, "I have a granddaughter now. My daughter and her husband, they got a little granddaughter. I would have missed out on that." I said, "Well, just thank God for it. And thank you for just living your life to the fullest." And she said, "No, thank you." She says, "So many people out there say they're Christians and they never have a positive word or to just give you hope." And she said, "That day, it felt like I was so burdened down. I was overloaded. I just wasn't thinking right." And that's what this word for today is about. Sometimes you get overloaded, and when you overloaded, you don't think clearly. And so what I want to tell you, we hear all of these cliches all the time. We've heard them all, but you've got to understand when people tell you, "Just pray about it, it's going to be all right." That sounds good, and prayer does work, but it sometimes doesn't actually release you of that stress. Let me say this to the Christians everywhere. In life, there's going to be ups and there's going to be down. Sometimes you're down. But every experience that produces stress, you've got to have a method or a means to release that stress. You've got to find a way to not let it overtake you. Because one of the things that happen when you overload it is you have a tendency to just give up. So what I'm saying to somebody today is, just don't give up. And you've got to find some type of balance in your life that you're not always overloaded and overwhelmed with things. You've got to take it and you've got to make that stress work for you, not work against you. Cares of this world we have, their demands that's going to be required of us. But when you find yourself getting stressed out and overwhelmed and out of balance, you've got to take time out and stop. Now, sometimes it's good to take a time out and just say, today, for at least an hour and a half, 90 minutes or so, my phone is going off. The TV is going off. I'm going to get to a quiet place and be still. Part of what helps for me, I'm talking about me personally, is each day I find a quiet place or a place that brings peace to me, and I sit and I am still. Whether it's on my porch, just sitting out in the yard, just looking at nature, or whether it's going to the park or sitting near some water, I find something each day where I shut down everything and I just find peace. And finding peace is very critical in your life. And Christians, you've got to let go of some of these things that's stressing you out. It's just causing physical health problems. You don't need your blood pressure high like that. You don't need to be borderline stroking out. You don't need to be around here saying you're diabetic and it's irreversible. Because with God, all things are possible. So many people have gotten healed. And not just healed from physical ailments, healed from mental health issues. Mental health is real. It's a real thing. Stress and worry is real. Y'all take care of yourself. You know, people go to church every Sunday or on Saturday for the Sabbath, whatever denomination you are, and you go in there one way and you come out the same way you went. There's no change happening. Change got to happen, and it starts with you. Don't forget, take a look at St. Matthew chapter 11, verse 28. Apply it to your life. Thank you for watching, and this has been your midweek word.